Sawtooth mountain run today. I'm gonna call this the shorter run, hoping to do a longer one tomorrow. I loaded up my Raide LF 2L belt here. Thinking about being out for, not exactly sure, potentially 2.5 to 3 hours. Also on foot, I've got the Arc'teryx Norvan LD4. I think it's appropriate now that I'm seriously up in the mountains here to give this one a real test run. I was able to demo them out in TrailCon, probably in similar terrain that I'm gonna run into over here. Probably a little more rugged today, and they felt great. I'm here. I'm gonna head up this way to these Trail Creek lakes. Bop around up there, should be super fun. Hopefully tomorrow I can make the big loop all the way around here. Sawtooth Lake, that is gorgeous, amazing. This is gorgeous, amazing too. I've done this route before, but today I didn't check the mileage and didn't load up a course. Just gonna try to follow the signs and hopefully find my way. I believe that sign was there earlier, even last year, last couple years, but there was a fire here last year. The area around our campsite there, especially, definitely burnt out. That was all green forest before. A lot of burnt out areas. But it's pretty amazing to see just 1 year, so much green popping out on the ground. It's really quite a contrast between charred out logs and bases of the trees there, burnt out stumps, and all the green and even the wildflowers popping up right underfoot. So I want to talk about this Raide LF belt. First of all, just because this is a drastic departure from the equipment I would take on a run like this. It's going to be around, I think, 2.5, 3 hours, but I would unequivocally say 100% of the time I would wear a vest for this type of run. We did have a front pass through as we were driving in last night. Kind of passed over this morning clearing out, so I don't have to bring any layers, and I'm not going super far here. I could definitely stuff a shell or something. There's those bungees back there. I'm also not bringing poles on this one. It's a shorter run. I don't mind kind of overusing or training the leg muscles at least, but those bungees back there, you could easily tie down a pair of lightweight trekking poles. Also, being that I'm not in Boise today, I will have access to fresh flowing mountain water on the run, so 1 flask and a bunch of Tailwind mix packets should do the trick for this run. So I mixed up that 1 pack of high carb mix in the bottle itself, 650 ml bottle included with the belt. Brought along 2 packs of the endurance fuel, 50 grams each. Those I put into the belt first, in the bottom with the bottle on top of it. They say you can squeeze 2 bottles in there. I don't know, that might be a little bit of a stretch for me. I will try it at some point, not today. But I also do have a size extra small, so there's probably a little less capacity in my belt here compared to, say, if you had a size large or even bigger. In the front here, I got my Garmin InReach, got that gel. There's 2 interior gel pockets on the inside, and then you've got this one big area up front, which is a single area. It's kind of closed up in the middle here, so you could access it from either the left or the right. I easily stuffed my action cam in here and my mini tripod, but I'm holding those right now. Also have a little spare battery in there somewhere. There is a zipper pocket in the back, which is great for keys, cash, ID, credit card, that kind of thing. Probably should have put my spare battery in there, but it's not going to come out of here. It's pretty fine. Also, took my wilderness permit in the side here. This is the area where the straps enter from the rear to the front, and then kind of there's little plastic, what do you call them, clasps here, and you go under and over with Velcro and cinch it down. So this front pocket is open on the side, but you do have a little bit of a lip on the bottom, and the material's pretty tight. I really don't have any sense that something might fall out of here. So I'm not sure if this stuff was burned last year. There was a previous fire further up beyond the lakes around the backside, and that place, that must have been a worse fire because it's really charred. It's like Mars back there. With this kind of setup, obviously can't carry my drone. I don't know, maybe I could rig it up with those bungees there. Might be hard to get a rear follow here. Also, microphone, try to figure that out. Clipped it here. Gets a little floppy if I just put it on my t-shirt, so see how the audio comes out. Quick stop here to relace. I think I snugged them up too much back at camp there. I'm getting a little squeezing, especially running uphill in the front of the foot, so it's great. I'll talk about the upper. They have an interesting kind of dual eyelet system here. Normally you got one eyelet and the laces come across. Here kind of goes in over the top, through the bottom, and then out on an outer row of eyelets. So you kind of have two separate rows of eyelets there. I find that it squeezes down on the top of the foot really nicely, as opposed to, if you have a single eyelet, it could kind of squeeze the foot from the side. This tends to pull it down, of course a little bit this way, but also a little bit on top of the foot, which pushes the shoe down into the midsole, which I find quite nice. I just happened to lace them a little bit too tight when I left, and again, that could probably, I think that was squeezing the ball of my foot into that shoe a little bit too much, giving pressure. So I really like this eyelet setup, I have to say. I haven't seen this before. There's also a little lace garage here. The tongue is kind of it's a knit material. You have this pocket here. This is pretty nice. Tuck all the laces right in there, especially your mountain running. You don't want to snag anything. It has a nice little tab here to pull it in and out. I got little ants calling on me. So very comfortable upper, and I like this setup. I feel very secure with those laces there. Just if I'm still working out the tension here. Nice little spot to stop and relace here. Heading that way. Oh yeah, that's much better. Relaxed forefoot. I think I might have the left one still a little too tight, but the right foot feels great now. And tighten up the upper rows. So this is better lacing job. This was absolutely the terrain that I wanted to test the shoe in. Just I figured it would be great, and feels great so far. Quick specs run through. 31.25 is what I measured. They give a 6 mil drop, and I measured 31 millimeters at the heel. If you look on their specs, you may see listed 25.19, and that seems pretty thin. I assure you, it's not that thin effectively. There's 4 mil lugs in the mix here. Vibram Mega Grip. Not sure if they're including the insole or whatever, but I do get 31.25, which is solid for kind of an all-terrain, all-mountain shoe without feeling too thin, especially if you're out for long days and this type of stuff here. Weight comes in 9.9 ounces, 280 grams. It's not crazy lightweight, but I'd say you're getting full coverage rubber, full coverage Vibram, which you need in the mountains. If you watch my Q&A with the Vective Pro 3, that shoe's even heavier, definitely way cushier, a lot more stack underfoot, lighter, bouncier foam, and a huge volume of it, but not full coverage outsole. And in this kind of rocky terrain, pretty much gouged through that Dream Foam midsole in more than a few places. So at 9.9 ounces, you're not going super light, but that's not heavy either. 31.25 is solid. Full coverage rubber. They talk about a dual density midsole, but a little bit hazy on what the foam composition is. But I'd say it definitely leans denser. It's not a light, springy, airy type of foam. I think it's built for the terrain that it's intended for. Mountain running, all-terrain, rocks, like this kind of stuff, and you want a little bit more control. I think it hits a good level of cushioning without feeling overly light. Some of those midsoles can just feel too light, as if you're bottoming out certain parts of the shoe. The heel, for me, the ball of the foot near the base of the big toe, sometimes those can kind of just flatten out even over the course of a single run. So you don't really get that sense here. Feels a bit denser, a bit more protective. It's not firm either. Has a sense of cushion to it. Again, it doesn't seem highly reactive or bouncy, but a bit more control, especially if I want to be running back down in this kind of rocky terrain. Haven't taken a drink yet. I'm gonna see if I could camera in one hand, pull the bottle out. Here we go. Oh, here it comes. No problem. Has a nice lock on there, which I popped open, pulling it out, which is something you have to be careful. It's good that it has a lock. You need that lock when you're running with a belt, so you don't have that water gushing out when you kind of squeeze the nozzle as you're stuffing it into a belt behind you where you can't see. So it's good that they have that lock, but you do have to keep track of which side is the locking side. It's not like, it doesn't have a click on the end when it's locked. It's just kind of loose, so you have to, I don't know, keep an eye on that. Now, I don't think I could stuff it back in there with one hand and one hand holding the camera. I typically use my left hand to grab the upper lip of the belt pocket and then stuff it in with my right hand. So obviously, can't really do that holding camera. Let me stop here. So that was fairly easy there. And I have run twice in this belt already with this bottle, and got no issues doing that on the run. I do have to say, it does feel quite freeing to be in the mountains like this and not have a vest on. I'm not going full Anton here. I am keeping my shirt on, although probably warm enough to take it off, but I don't know if anybody would want to see that. But yeah, normally I would 100% have a vest on, be all loaded up. You know, just feels a little nicer to have air around the upper torso. And this feels, I have to say, fantastic. Zero bounce at all. You know, if you're in a run like this where you have access to water, or maybe you can stuff 2 bottles in there, I can certainly stuff another bottle in the front, or maybe mix in a handheld, so you got like one up front, maybe, or I mean one in the back, maybe one in front, and then hand carry on top of it. You can carry significant amount of fluids, and then of course just stuff all the gels in there. So I'm 42 minutes in, 3.8 miles, 1,600 feet of gain, across 2 solid creek crossings there, so on the way back, I have no problems refilling my bottles if I get thirsty at the end there. Protection underfoot here, pretty solid for not having a plate, not being crazy high stacked. I also have a good amount of ground feel. It's a pretty happy medium from not feeling too thin and not overly protective. Great balance here. I haven't really had much relief along the way here from just like running on various sizes of rocks 4 miles in here. Not too much terribly smooth terrain, and feet are feeling fine, great even. As usual, I will hold my security and stability feedback for the descent. It's always a little trickier than going uphill. I did get a comment on my on-road running video from the Boise Greenbelt. Somebody mentioned they enjoyed seeing what Idaho has to offer through my different videos. And I'll just mention that where I'm running right now is about 2.5 hours to 3 hours drive from Boise. Not really far at all if you want to get wild. This is a national wilderness recreation area. Yeah, the lacing fit is fantastic on these. Now they get the tensioning right, feels just perfect. Really feel strapped onto the shoe without really overly squeezed or feeling squeezed at all. Just a very comfortable fit. The thing with the more high stack super shoes is you just get used to running in shoes like that, and over time you feel like you need that much protection, that much cushion underfoot to feel good in rocky terrain, or maybe feel good over longer distances. But there are some really good options out there, including this LD4, that are just more moderate in terms of cushioning and protection, and you just have to get your feet, your legs into the mode of actually feeling the ground, working with the terrain, that kind of thing, rather than just, hoping the shoe is gonna plow through the stuff for you. You got shoes like this, Prodigio Pro, easily comes to mind. Salomon, S-Lab Genesis. They're all just not those crazy high stack ones, kind of in the middle. And they just give you more ground feel with an adequate level of cushioning to handle this. Drainability and breathability, by the way, seems good. I went through 2 already before that one, and it's actually kind of not noticing that my feet were wet anymore. A little bit of a meadow here, and now we're in about 3/4 of a mile. I think there's a split, and I'll head off to the right to those lakes, which will be higher up there. A little bit of, not really scrambly, but a little bit more climby to climb up to those lakes, which is fun. At 9.9 ounces, the shoe feels great going uphill. Like I said, you want a little bit of protection. You want it to be overly cushy. You want to feel stable running on rocks like this. And you don't want to have the weight of such a heavy shoe, especially if you're climbing a lot. This type of mountain terrain. 9.9 ounces definitely puts it in the range of those other more moderately stacked mountain area shoes. It just feels really nice climbing up without having, say, 11 ounces on your foot and just a thicker, wider slab of foam to manage. Actually, I did just hit 1 hour right now. Trying to polish off this 20 ounces here. Tailwind high carb. I think I did about 10 or 12. Been talking, so always forget to drink as much. It's not crazy hot. The sun is popping in and out behind some clouds, and I'm not going crazy intense effort here, so try to catch up a little bit. Getting closer to the lakes here. About less than a 1/4 mile to the split. Grand Jean, where I came from. Trail Creek Lakes up there. Stanley Lake, you'll wind around the backside through there. That's where the really pretty Mars-ish area of a previous burn is. And then Sawtooth Lake is up over there. Beautiful over there. I think that's called Observation Peak. There's a trail from in there. I went up there once, I think last time. Really nice view. Good place to stop and take a look at the belt here. Again, I'm holding this in my hand, but I had no problem stuffing this back. I've got 2 of these. Next creek I come across, I'm gonna fill up. So I've got 2 of these Tailwind Endurance Field packs stuffed in the bottom here. There's 2 little inner sleeves here for gels. I've got 1 gel stuffed in here. I think you could put at least 2 gels in each of those. They're pretty wide and spacious. I could definitely put 2, so I could have 4 gels on the inside. And then you have, this is 1 big pocket in the front here. I've got my spare battery tucked in there. I've got my inReach here. I have the camera and the tripod. I was holding it most of the way here, obviously, because I'm using it, but I had them stuffed in here, no problem. My little permit. It is open on the sides here, so this is the pouch, so you can see my finger popping through there. So you might want to be a little careful. You don't want to have small items that could kind of pop out of the side. But it is pretty tight. I mean, this is where your hips are, so those are squeezed pretty good. This is where it has an internal suspension system, so there's straps too that run from the back through here, and this is why I think the belt works good for me. I'm pretty thin. This is actually an XS, and you know, I have a very thin waist. I'm 30, if you measured, it might even be 29, but then down here, a little bit more. So let's just say if without the strap, some belts just rely on tension. So with this being a little more, they just scoot their way up. So there's these two straps here. It's a little maybe tricky to see. And you could adjust these, obviously. Once I set it, it's pretty snug. And those two straps are a little thinner than the belt. So the strap is right here, and that's getting like literally right on the top of my hip bones. So that really locks it in. And then you have all the area of the belt itself that is kind of tied into that. So you can stuff everything in. So it's not just the tension of the entire belt that's keeping it snug on you. You have that inner, thinner strapping system that's really getting it right. This is my hip bone right here. And this is the bottom edge of the belt. Like right here, the belt is running. So it feels like even with the bottle full, you saw when I was jumping, feels really solid. And then you have the storage space, or the volume below where the belt is and above where the belt is, so you can really get a lot of stuff in both of them. And like I said, this is an extra small, so if you're wider than me, or bigger than me, and you have a large or an XL or even a medium, there's probably more volume in here. You could probably, I know they say you can stuff 2 in here. I mean, this pocket goes way over here, so you probably could. I'm gonna try it out, but we'll see. It feels really excellent. Probably the best belt. Like this, it's, I guess, ergonomically designed, they said. So this bottom edge is wider. The circumference is wider than this one here. So even you can see, this is not like crazy squeeze. This is actually even a little loose, It's that strap that really locks it down. So it's not like I'm getting like completely squeezed by this entire belt. I have almost like I'm wearing a regular pants belt on the inside, and then I have just all the storage here. And look at this. This isn't even kind of like loose. Here it's a little, obviously I'm a little wider down here, so it's a little snugger here, but this is actually a wider, it's tapered this way as part of the design. So it just, it sits really well. It's been spectacular on this run, an hour so far, and let's go check out the lakes. I'm actually gonna prep my bottle here so I don't have to do it when I'm like ankle deep in a stream somewhere. So Tailwind Endurance Fuel, not as much as the high carb, although the high carb doesn't have a crazy thick texture like some of those other high carb mixes do. It's more similar in taste to like a regular, similar, not quite like this. So 106 on the timer to the split there. What I was trying to say there about the Tailwind high carb is that a lot of those high carb mixes have like a very thick, well, not syrupy, but on the way to syrupy texture. The Scratch one, Morton for sure, also Osmo. They just kind of feel thick. The Tailwind high carb just has a consistency that's more in line with most typical, non-high carb sports drink mixes. So even though you're getting 90 grams, it kind of has like the feel of maybe the 50 gram endurance fuel that I have there. The feel, the taste of it. So it's not that drastically different. It also has more of a limey taste to it, which is a flavor. So that's fine. So I've got an hour 6 running. I don't know what the mileage is, doesn't matter. An hour 6 running, 90 grams of carbs, and that bottle was 20 ounces there. So that's a pretty solid amount without having to worry about gels and all that kind of stuff. kind of cool. I might try some more liquid fueling in my running and races if, you know, this high carb stuff sits as well as it does now. Got a little extra spring in my step after stopping to talk to the camera for a couple minutes there. Sun is popping in and out. The lighting is just gorgeous on this run today. It's the valley down there. Came up through. You can see the Vibra Mega Grip working on some of these rocks here. No problems. Grip retraction, 4mm lugs, full coverage, all day, all good, all mountain. It's a pond. That's the sound of me, myself, and I. So what do you say we follow this path right along here? Take another look-see over there, and then we'll wind our way up there. And I think there's another lake or two up there. Let's see. This is not bad, huh? What do you say? Idaho. Huh. Almost took a dip. There are a couple of paths around here, but I can't figure out where they are. There's a little path. Let's see. This is pretty steep. No traction issues. LD4 here. Crushing. Ooh. Ooh. Full summit here. Oh yeah. Oh. Wow. All right, I'm gonna hold my breath on 3 and let's have a listen. 1, 2, 3. Well, we might as well see what's over there. Well, this is just a little pond. And another little hidden gem here. Whoa! Do have a mind to take a dip in that lake down there. Got to find my way back down there first. Chilly. Woo. Oh, alrighty then. 7.5 miles. One little dip. Big cold dip. Woo. A little chilly. Yeah. Let's head back. This on here for now. Oh my gosh. Let's put these away for the moment. Bye bye, Trail Creek Lakes. Might see you tomorrow. The Raide belt stayed pretty secure through the soaking there. Oh, chilly. I did get occasional questions about Swimrun shoes, actually. I think somebody had asked me if the Sky 2s and the S-Live Genesis could be good shoes. And I thought the Genesis, I think they both could. Maybe these, I'm definitely going to have to relace maybe at the fork up ahead. Seem to have loosened up after that swim. But I don't know, potential for Swimrun here. You have to make sure you can get those laces snugged down pretty tight. Definitely gonna relace after that little dip there. Definitely got a bit waterlogged, upper loosened up a bit, which is not unexpected when you go swimming in your running shoes. All right, so I should have maybe a solid hour, maybe a touch more down. I forgot, what would it take me? 106 up here, so I should get down there to camp before an hour. Let's see. I do have a video up on the channel where I tested the LD4 Gore-Tex, also with the Ultraspire Alpha Pack, and I just wasn't high on that shoe. I also had that video from TrailCon from the demo run. Check that out, because I did do a close-up on my demo pair, and I talked a lot about the sizing. I had the Gore-Tex version, or I have the Gore-Tex version at home in a 9, and Arc'teryx sizing definitely runs big, but that one felt too snug. I was recommended to size down a half, and I did, and it was okay with thin socks, but I was getting some pinky toe pinching in that shoe. Just a touch. They're uncomfortable a little bit towards the end of my runs. So I did go with my true to size 9.5 here. And this is definitely, especially in terms of length, a spacious true to size. And it has that dialed kind of secure mountain fit that I was talking about earlier in this run. I would recommend going true to size in this. I've got a US 9.5 and it feels excellent. I have extra room in front of the toes, which is great. You saw those rocks way up there, not way up there, just up there, closer to the Trail Creek Lakes. And that little extra space in front of the toes is great once you start kicking rocks. So you do want to have that. And now that I'm on my way back down, it's not a crazy steep descent on the way down, but it's pretty steady. And you know, your foot is going to slide forward a little bit. You want to have that bumper space in front of the toes. You don't want to be jammed up on descents and jamming your toes when you smash rocks here and there. I feel very secure and confident. This is a lot of loose rocks. Like, I think I gotta fill my bottle here. Quick little refill there. 50 grams of carb, Tailwind endurance fuel, fresh mountain water. Definitely moving a bit quicker on the way down here, and I do have to say, I am loving the foothold and the ride of the shoe. It's not like I'm forcing myself to pick up the pace here, especially when it gets a little bit rocky. A sign of a good and secure feeling shoe is that I just tend to naturally pick up the pace and let my legs go, especially on the descent. This is a bit gravelly here, not as rocky, but I'm again not really worried about impact. Nothing's really bothering my feet, kind of picking my way through twists and turns, and I've got very high confidence underfoot, and that is a good sign when testing a mountain shoe like this. Really loving the ride of the shoe. This is gonna end up being, let's see, 14. It's gonna be about a 15-mile run, 14 to 15, I'm not sure, but my feet feel fantastic. I've got hopefully a big loop tomorrow, 20 plus, to get over to Sawtooth Lake, and I would have no problem taking this shoe over for that longer distance. It feels super comfortable and, again, moderately cushioned. Again, that ground feel just feels like just enough, just great, where it gives me confidence running. I don't have to worry about my feet too much, and I feel stable. That was a wet rock test right there. Where am I going? Oh. Little wet rock test. I also had, I guess, high confidence that I was not gonna slip off of that steeply angled rock. Definitely hitting some rocks now. Trying to keep it moving. Trying not to slow down here. And stay upright. I also, in my Gore-Tex video, I talked about, I didn't think that shoe was stable at all. I felt like the heel was very tippy, and I was surprised to read they talked about heel stability in the LD4 product sheet, and maybe they didn't really I don't know. Maybe that wasn't applicable to the Gore-Tex version. I just felt like I would hit those rocks and the Gore-Tex shoe, I was getting like thrown here and there relatively easy. It made it kind of nerve-wracking to run in. Like if I was running in something like this, I'm not getting any of that tippiness. Maybe it just comes down to the ground feel being so good. I feel like I'm pretty stable in the heel. I feel like I do have a bit of a, it doesn't have like huge sidewalls coming up, but I do feel like I'm kind of locked in there, but not in a tippy sort of way that I felt in the Gore-Tex. The Gore-Tex shoe, it just felt stiffer overall. Maybe it was the shoe as a whole making it feel so tippy. This one just feels, I don't know, it feels way better. I'm really loving this shoe. I think this might be one of my favorite mountain running shoes so far. I mean, this is, I would say, a solid mountain test run. Bit of a look from above here of the burn area from last year. I'm running back down the same route that I came up here. The shoe, of course, feels very balanced underfoot. Again, if I have this much confidence, I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand. 6 mil drop is noticeable, especially under the heel. Have a bit of a landing area there for, say, harsh, rocky descents. You could plant that heel a little bit on the way down, absorb some impact, but you don't have a lot of overhang over the rear of the shoe, sides of the heel, sides of the forefoot. It's a very streamlined shoe, 31, 25, you know, dense-ish type foam, and the fact that it's not hanging over the sides or the rear, the tail of the shoe, the midsole foam that is, that means a very streamlined platform on the ground, very controllable. You can feel a lot of confidence with foot placements. A lot of times those wide shoes, what really makes you hold back is you catch those overhangs on a rock or something, the edge of the shoe, the tail end of the heel. You catch a few of those and makes you stumble once or twice, and then you just naturally start holding back because you know you're nervous about the next one. When you have a platform underfoot that inspires confidence, you know, and you have just a sense or a feel of where your feet are on the ground in front of you. You know, with experience running in terrain like this, your brain is constantly mapping out where your feet are landing. So you just get this sense of where your feet are going to be, and that in turn leads to confidence on the run. So when you're running in those higher stack shoes, wider platforms, sometimes you just get used to them and there's a bit of disconnect to, you know, how much ground space your foot is actually taking up. And sometimes it can throw you when you catch, say, the side of the shoe when you don't expect it. And shoes like this, the LD4, just fantastic for feel underfoot. And that's not just in terms of the cushiness. I'm talking about the feel of the platform, the sense of where you are, where the trail is, where the rocks are under your feet. It's just great in the shoe. Now I do have another Arc'teryx shoe with me on this trip, the Sylan Pro version 1. Version 2, I was told, is going to come out spring, summer 2026. So I've got the current version with me. I'm not sure if I'm going to take it out tomorrow. That shoe is a higher stack. It is designed, again, from Arc'teryx as a mountain running shoe, but it incorporates more of a rocker style design. This one more has a flatter, traditional mountain running type profile, less of that rolling rocker style. So the Sylan Pro's got that, and I'm not saying it wouldn't be working well in this terrain. I just might not want to try it on the very first run, say for 4 or 5 hours in this terrain. I might want to take it for a test spin first to get a feel for it before I come and do something like that in this shoe. Quick little refill stop there. Second refill of the 50-gram endurance fuel. A little behind on hydration. Just the talking, the swimming, I don't know. If this were a race situation, I'd be trying to play catch up. But if it were a race situation, I would pay more attention to making sure I'm hydrated early. I did put down, 2 times 20, 40 ounces. I refilled a little water the first refill, so maybe 45 or 50 ounces in about maybe 2:15 here. Not terrible, given that it's actually pretty cool. Not really that hot, and I was pretty cool for a while after swimming. I also did take that gel somewhere at one point, so it's 50, 50, 100, 190 plus 30. That'll be 220 for, this should be about, 2.5 hour run. Even if it's 3 hours, that's a reasonable amount for a training run. I don't have to get too crazy. Yeah, I'm getting close down to the trailhead now, so didn't need to fill up that extra bottle with the additional 50 grams. Could surely make it, but the stomach is feeling fine, so I am testing this Tailwind stuff, so why not? 190 grams, all liquid in this run. 1 pH calf gel, just because that was kind of like just in case, and I figured I might as well eat it. Yeah, I wouldn't have filled up that last one right there if I had any issue at all with my stomach, if I didn't think I could drink it. It's going down pretty easy, pretty smooth. I have not had any sloshing at all at any point, or any discomfort in my stomach or gut throughout this run. I did get up over 9,000 feet back there by those lakes, so that's another factor. The Tailwind stuff has been very comfortable, very great. Nice to be able to have those packets too. If I'm thinking about being in a race situation, having even 50 grams for the endurance fuel in one packet in a drop bag somewhere, or carrying them with me for a leg, that's great. And of course, the high carb fuel, having 90 grams with you, that is really great. And the fact that it's just there in one packet and it mixes so easily, that is the best part. Those other ones, Scratch, Morton, and Osmo, the other high carb, Osmo's not as high carb as Scratch and Morton and Tailwind. Those three definitely are a lot harder to mix. Like, I would not want to try to mix those up during a race by myself on the run. Again, if you've got crew preparing stuff for you, that's another story. But if you're doing everything by yourself, that's not going to work for me. So honestly, this Tailwind high carb is the best option for me in terms of a high carb mixable mix. So let me know what you think down in the comments of this combo mountain run testing video. We've got the Tailwind fueling here, of course. The Raide LF 2-liter belt. Spectacular. Honestly, first run like this, I would say, ever. This type of mountain run, distance, duration, terrain, using a belt. Brand new for me, and it's been spectacular. Again, I do have creek water access here, and I will be testing carrying more capacity from the start, poles, that kind of thing. I've seen people in races using this belt, so shouldn't be a problem with that. Just a matter of if I personally like it or not to really have that much around my waist. But a run like this is just, whew, it's an awesome piece of equipment for sure. Definitely when I come out on my Sawtooth trips or any other type of mountain adventures, this belt is going to be coming with me. So again, look out for more on the belt as I test it in more extended ranges and extended capacity scenarios. The Arc'teryx LD4 here completely changed my tune on this shoe. Caveat, I was only running in the Gore-Tex version of the shoe. So I still would not recommend that shoe. The Gore-Tex version, not my favorite. I don't know. I generally don't run in Gore-Tex shoes anyway, but this LD4, this was a solid mountain test run, and this should be hopefully pretty convincing that this is a great option for this type of running and even more moderate running. You don't have to just wait until you're up here like this. It's a smooth riding shoe. Maybe not the best in kind of easier trails or whatever, but it's relatively lightweight, so I would say it's also very versatile. There's nothing wrong with a 9.9 ounce shoe on easier trails as well, flatter, more moderate, less rugged terrain. This could also be a good option there. So please like and subscribe. Check out www.humblerunning.com. Check out the description below. Always I have related links, previous Arc'teryx testing, also other comparable shoes that I might have possibly talked about in one of my videos. Always check out the description, please. Affiliate links are there too if you are super interested in this shoe after my testing and you thought I gave you some good information and perhaps convinced you to pick up this shoe or any other shoe. It doesn't cost you anything to just click through my affiliate links. It just brings you right to the product page, and it does not cost you an extra penny, and it does help support Humble Running. So thank you if you choose to do that. Stay tuned for my next mountain run. It's gonna be tomorrow. Still thinking about what shoe I'm gonna wear, so I'll see you then out on the mountain. So I did the first lake, and the last lake I jumped into was this one. Then I hiked through here up to this lake, that other little pond, and then that other kind of lake over here. I guess if you go further up, there's some bigger lakes up there, so that's a little bit more of a hike. If I had more time, maybe next time I'll scoot over there. Let's see, tomorrow maybe.